today we're going to be discussing at the root cause of many, many pathological disorders. Not all, but the majority of pathological disorders, whether they are heart-related, diabetes, neurodegenerative disorder. At the core, they deal with inflammation. Inflammation is the bad word that we have learned over the last decade through many research studies that inflammation, when it actually deals with the body, it actually works in many, many mysterious ways. Understanding what it is and how it begins in the process of our bodies is a great insight to our abilities to heal our bodies and prevent diseases and help us live a long life. We can assess the situation of what has happened over the last century or so. In the year 1900, the average age of individuals was about 45, and that's kind of striking to a lot of people. But the Social Security system was built on a system that assumed that most people wouldn't live far beyond 65. Today, we live in a world that the reason we have a longer extension of life is with all the advances of medicine. At the core of it are heart advancements, metabolic issues. And if we can kind of realize that many of the pathologies that really struck us down back in the day was inflammation at its core, whether it's atherosclerosis or some sort of pancreatic, digestive, liver disorders, intestinal issues, we can find that the commonality behind many of these disorders, even neurodegenerative disorders, Alzheimer's, things that sometimes don't make sense or have yet to be discovered, inflammation has a lot to do with it. So why don't we just go ahead and cut to the chase and go in, dive deep, and understand inflammation at its core. Today, I've put a panel together to discuss ways that we can naturally affect inflammation and assist the body through inflammatory preventative methods. Now, as we discuss these particular things, we're going to break it down, but I want to be very clear that our goal here and our focus here is to understand that the kitchen all the way to the genes has to be described, meaning from the choices we eat all the way to the genetic transcription at the DNA. Today we have a issue of the majesty and the power of DNA. Today we're actually at a time where the world is being affected by viruses and designs. And what is at the core of a virus? It's the DNA. It's the DNA of a molecule that wants to survive, and it travels through the planetary system unfazed, and it has a great dynamics, it has an intelligence. So if we can understand how we can actually assist the genetic expression of our bodies through anti-inflammatory methods, we can prevent a lot of diseases before they become subclinical, before they become clinical, and before at the end of clinical becomes pathogenic, and to the point of actually disorders of great impact in our lives. So one of the first things we want to start is understanding what is inflammation. Inflammation, you have to put on a white coat, and you're going to say, you have to kind of go deep and understand that you have to be an inflammologist, well, almost to that extent. A cardiologist becomes an inflammologist, a rheumatologist, inflammologist, a internal medicine, inflammation. So as we look at this, we deal with the immune system at its core, and it's got different names from immunoglobulins to IGF, IgAs, all these kind of neat acronyms. But what we were dealing with is a process that is the way that the body protects itself. Inflammation is good. God designed it to be good, and it's okay. But if it goes astray or changes, it causes autoimmune disorders. It causes, thyroiditis, Hashimoto's. It causes a lot of disorders that affect us today. It causes metabolic syndrome. We've been talking a lot about metabolic syndromes. And what I want to do is I want to bring in and discuss and take it down a notch, and to understand that where basis is based on, it's a functional medicine approach, it's a physical medicine type of practice, and we have to bring the kitchen to us. And one of the things is, as a doctor, we as a clinical professional, we do is we have a team of people in order to win the game. And the game is against inflammation. Now we have here Astrid Ornelas, and we have Ken Avon, who's going to be discussing also topics on inflammation. But I want to be very clear that what we're doing is we're taking the understanding of the intestinal biome, we're going all the way through the immunological system, and we're going to all the way go somehow, some way, and we're going to end up talking about the DNA and the nucleoli and the transcription process that actually happens in the DNA, all of which affects directly the processes of the body. So as we go over these things, it's going to rock your world as we kind of go through these processes, because today is not a all-answer thing. It's a beginning of inflammology. Now, the basis of our work is put together by a doctor named Dr. Alex Vasquez, who is the premier inflammologist and the science evaluator, the greatest techniques that are out there to prevent inflammation on a natural way, also in a way that actually affects a lot of people throughout the globe. Now, his sciences and his studies have been put together by a lot of directions from immunological to natural medicines to the deep medical approaches that have that pretty much every day change. But at the basis is understanding inflammation. What he termed the coin inflammology, that's what we're doing, and I'm bringing it to you guys as best as I can. And maybe one day he'll be out here and he'll kind of indirectly kind of connect with this and elaborate on these technologies.